Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, we are back with another episode, guys. And in today's video, Genesis chapter 38, we'll do a little recap. Remember 37. The biggest things about that chapter was Joseph, Jacob's favorite son. Um, his other brothers hated him for that. They envied him. They're very jealous of him. So they're out near, I forgot what it was, somewhere, and they're taking care of the animals. And Jacob sent Joseph, his son, to go, you know, check how they are, see how they're doing, and then come back and give me word. Uh, and then while he was over there, he's like, "Hey guys, how's everything going?" They planned up and they put him in a ditch pretty much where he couldn't get out. It was like a big old hole, and then they left him there. And then some other people came, and they were planning on sending him because they didn't want to kill him, even though some of them planned on killing him. Um, and then so while they were figuring out eating lunch, some other, I think it was like a Maudamite, got him and sold him to a pharaoh, a captain of the pharaoh, captain of a guard. So that's the biggest thing. So here we are in chapter 38 now, and let's see what happens. So let's get it. Chapter 38. It happened at that time that Judah, remember Judah is, let's look it up. Judah is the son of Joseph, or Jacob, I'm sorry. Son of Jacob. There you go, look. Judah. So let's go here, zoom in a little bit. It's at 150. It should be, it just lags a little bit. 150. Okay, I think you guys can see it. So yeah, so Judah is the son of obviously Jacob, but the son of Leah. So it says it happened at that time that Judah, and I think Judah was one of the main ones that wanted to kill Joseph. So yeah, so it happened at the time Judah went down from his brothers, and turned into a certain Aldamite whose name was Hirar. So what it means by at that time that it means pretty much that he left his brothers and he went to go move somewhere else. That's what verse 1 says, and I can show you guys where it's at. We got a lot of notes. So yeah, so went down from his brothers, meaning as in like he left his brothers and he went to go live somewhere else. But he turned into a certain Aldamite, which is a type of people whose name, but a certain type of Aldamite who his name was Hirach, so it's his friend. And over here, this is what the little black circle is, Alduma. That's where he decided to move to. So his friend Hira. So there, Judah moved there, right? And it says there, Judah saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. He married her and went into her. So meaning as in, it doesn't give us the name of his wife, but it says it's the daughter of Shua. So he was down there. He saw how beautiful it was, and he married her. And he went into her, meaning as in he made love with her. He made sex with her. He had sex with her, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Let me zoom in here. You guys can see it probably better. Okay. Again, she conceived and bore another son, and she called his name Onan. Okay. And yet again, she bore a son, and she called his name Shelah. Now it says she was in Chezib when she bore him. So his final son, Chezib, and I couldn't find an exact map on where that is at, but I think it's right over here, Chezib, near Adulma, where this is where Judah moved to. So I think Chezib is right there. I think so. When I was looking it up. So yeah, her final son, she was in Chezib whenever she gave birth to him. Let me go back now to 150. Yeah, and Judah took a wife for his firstborn son, and her name was Tomar. Okay, so that's his firstborn son He found a wife for him, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. So let's go to the Hebrew Bible of it. 38:7. 38:7. so we can figure out what Lord it is. I can tell when they were there in English, the capital L means his father, the Father, Yahweh. Uh, yeah, Yahweh. So they're talking about Yahweh, but you can tell because whenever it's in our English version and it's a capital L, it's talking about Yahweh, the Father. But yeah, so he was very wicked. The Lord saw him, and he was so bad that the Lord killed him. Now, how bad was he? I don't know, but I guess he was bad enough for the Lord to kill him. He was probably like a murderer. He probably hurt some girls or innocent people. Mm, Maybe he might have been gay. We don't know, but he was wicked enough for the Lord to kill him. Uh, so then Judah said to Onan, but remember, he already had a wife at this time. Remember, his wife was Tamar. So now she's a widow. So then Judah said to Onan, which is his second born son, remember, died. Now it's Onan, but he was already married with Tamar. But then Judah said to Onan, his second born son, go into your brother's wife and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her, and raise up an offspring for your brother. So if you go to the Hebrew version, when I read this, to me it's like go into your brother's wife and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her. So I read it as in like, look, he wants his son to make love with her, and have a child with her, so that way your brother's name won't die out, your brother's legacy won't die out, so he can have a son, because that was his wife, right? Because remember, when you're married, you're kind of one. So he wants his son to marry her. He wants his son to have sex with her, have a child with her, but it'll be like at least some part of the son that he lost. And if we go to the Hebrew version of it, it's verse 8. That's the way I read it. And but in the Hebrew Bible, he wants him to marry him too. So it's like, and Judah, let me go down. And Judah said to Onan, go into the wife of your brother, and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. So he wants him to marry her, go into her, so you can have a child with her, so your brother's legacy can live on. So, but Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. So when he went into his brother's wife, he spilled the semen on the ground, lest, like, meaning as in, so that he cannot, so he should not give his other, lest he should give his offspring to his brother. So meaning as in, like, I mean, Onan had sex with her, but he's like, I'm not gonna put a kid inside her because it's not my offspring. And if we even go to the Hebrew Bible of it, this chair squeaks so much. Let's go to the verse 9. I'm trying to stay still so it won't squeak. It's kind of annoying. So it says, but Onan knew that would not be his heir, the heir, and it would come to pass when he went into the wife of his brother. Then he emitted on the ground, lest he should give an heir to his brother. So I guess it kind of means like as in like because lest means like so that not like so to not do, lest otherwise. So I'm saying, I guess he kind of, the way I kind of read it is kind of like he did not want to do that to he didn't want to, I guess, perform the duty that he was supposed to, like his dad wanted to, so that way he couldn't give his brother an offspring. So he's just like, it's not mine, it's gonna be my brother's kid. I don't want that. It's not my blood. I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna just put the semen on the ground. So one of the first cases of pulling out, thousands of years ago. And what he did was displeasing in the sight of the Lord, and he slew him also. So the Lord saw what he did. He didn't like it, and he killed him. So now Judah had 3 sons. Now he only has one, and it's Shelah. So, and I don't want to question God. I don't want to question the Lord. I shouldn't. I'm not going to, but it's just interesting how he decided he's going to kill him for that. So then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, because remember, she's like, look, she had a husband. He was so wicked, the Lord killed him. She's widowed. Then Judah said, all right, my second son, go into her, marry her, have a son with her. and then he had sex with her, but he pulled out. He left it. He put the semen on the ground. The Lord killed him. And so now she's like, damn, now I'm double widowed. And so then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house till Shelach, my son, grows up. That's his last and youngest son. And then it says right here, this little side says, for he feared that he would die like his brothers. So he was, even Shelach was, he heard his father say that, saying, look, don't worry, I'm going to give you Shalal. Just stay in your father's house a widow. Whenever he goes up and he grows of age, he's big enough, I'll give him to you. And he's heard that. And he's like, man, I'm scared to die like my brothers. That's what that means right there. For he feared that he would die like his brothers. So he was afraid that he would die like his brothers. So that kind of maybe, I guess so. Actually, I'll come back to that. So we'll continue. So Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. So she did as as he told her. So she went back to her father's house and lived there as a widow for many years. And it says, in the course of time, as many years have passed on, in the course of time, the wife of Judah, Shua's daughter, died. So Judah's wife died. We don't know her name. We know she's Shua's daughter. But in the time of, as the years went on, she died. And when Judah was comforted, he went up to Timnah to his sheep shears. I mean, like people that would cut the wool off of sheep. So as Judah was being comforted, he still had his flock and his animals to take care of. So he went up to Timnah, a little spot town. I didn't even look it up where it was at, but he went to the town Timnah to his sheep shears. He and his friend Hirah the Adamite. So now Hirah comes back in the picture. So it kind of makes me think that Hirah was probably, that was his profession. He was just taking care of livestock, animals. And they were friends because that's what Judah does. So they're probably really best friends. And Hirah was like, hey, like, I'm going to move over here. You want to come with me? And he's like, sure, I'll come with you, bro. So, and when Tamar was told, so remember, Tamar is the girl that he said, look, I gave you both of my sons. They both died. Stay at your father's house. I'll save you for my son Shalal. That's Tamar, the woman who is widowed. So when Tamar was told, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep, she put off her widow's garment. So whenever your husband died, you would wear a widow's garment, meaning as in like, I'm a widow. I used to be married with some man, but he died sadly, and now I'm lonely, right? So I kind of view it as like this right here, a widow's garment. I don't think it was probably this exact type, but you get the picture of like some type of dress that's dark, and it's meant to signify that you're a widow. And that's what she had on. Whenever somebody told her, hey, look, your father-in-law is coming up here to come up, passing up here to go to Timnah to go to his sheep shears, for the animals. So she put off her widow's garment and put on a veil, okay, wrapping herself up, and sat at the entrance of Enaim, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown up and she had not been given to him in marriage. So she heard this news. Well, because remember, she was staying at her father's house as she was told, because she thought that, and she was like, look, well, Judah's gonna give me his youngest son when he's older. It's fine. I don't have to go out there and looking for another man. I could just be with my father. I already have a husband lined up. I just have to wait till he gets older. But he never came. And remember that little comment that he said when he heard his dad say, I'm going to give you Shalach, my son, when he gets older? He says, for he feared that he would die like his brothers. So to me, he probably wasn't cool with that plan. Like, he probably told his dad, both of my brothers were with this woman and they died. Like, I don't want to be that last one. So he probably just never wanted to, and he probably never liked her, He was just doing as his dad told her he was supposed to, but he's like, Dad, I don't love her. I'm afraid. I don't want to die like my brothers. I don't want to be her wife. I don't want to be her wife or her husband. And that's why I think, because she was told that, hey, your father-in-law is coming up here, is passing by. So she took off her widow's garment. She put on a veil, right? Maybe something like this, to hide her face. so nobody can see her. She waited at the entrance of Enaim because he has to pass Enaim to get to Tamar. Um, so probably on like a small little country road. She was just sitting somewhere right here with a veil covering her face. She took off her widow's garment, trying to act like somebody, trying to act like she's not, trying to act like you don't know who I am. Like she's trying to hide her appearance from him. So all these years pass by. Shalah's grown up. He has not went to, and probably at this time too. She's probably a lot older too. You know, she hasn't had a child yet. She wants a child. She's been with her parents forever. She's like, I want to leave. It's time, but he hasn't been a man of his word yet. You know, so she's probably gonna confront him. But uh, so let me see where I'm at because I lost track. Uh, yeah. So okay, so there she is. She's at the entrance, right? So when Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, meaning as in like a prostitute. For she had covered her face, right? And I guess covering your face at that time and the type of clothes that she probably had. We don't know all the details because we can't see it. We can only read what's written down. But she probably had it in a way where you're supposed to like cover all your face. Maybe you're ashamed to show your face, or you don't want people to see who you are, similar to how a prostitute would be. Um, and I guess I mean, prostitution's probably been going on forever. It always has been. So I guess maybe now you think of it like as like a prostitution, and you like that famous road, Harry Hines, and girls just walking back and forth, almost butt naked, and you just pick one up and you just pay her to have sex with her, like at a truck stop, a lot lizard, or whatever it is. But at this time, in this period, in this context, maybe they just wore veils and covered their faces eye to eye, all the way. But regardless, he looked at her. He thought she was a prostitute. Um, for she and it says right there, for she had covered her face. That's why he thought she was a harlot, because she covered her face. So I guess at that point, at that time where they're living in, at that region, if you covered all your face, people are gonna think you're probably a prostitute. So he went over to her at the roadside and said, "Come, let me come into you." And so he saw her and he's like, "Oh, look, that's a prostitute. I haven't had my wife in many years. I want to do the thing." And he told her, he went over there and said, "Hey, look, let me come into you. Like, let me have sex with you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. So it's letting us know too that he did not know that that was his daughter-in-law because she was all covered up. But he went up to her and said, "Hey, look, I want to have sex with you." Uh, so she responded. She said, "What will you give me that you may come into me?" So she's asking, "Look, what are you gonna give me?" And he answered, "I will send you a kid from the flock," meaning as in like, I'll send you a young goat from my flock. Because remember, he has all his livestock and all his animals. He's taking it up to the next city, or more up to Tamar to do his stuff with the animals. So he's like, "Look, I'll give you a young goat from my flock." And she said, and that was probably worth a lot of money, especially at that time. And she said, "Will you give me a pledge till you send it?" Um, because I guess he has all his animals, but he wasn't going to give her one of the goats yet. They're probably all grown adults. They needed to be shaved. Because remember, a sheep shears is one who shaves off the wool from a sheep or a young goat. Um, so all the animals he has are all full grown, ready to be sold. So he's like, "Look, once the next year around, or once after their next mating season, once they have baby animals, like their babies, I'll give you one of them." So he's like, "Right now I won't give you nothing, but I will give you something in the future. Once I have, you know, then once the mamas have their kids, I'll give you one of my flock, one goat from my flock." Uh, but she's like, "Okay, that's fine, that's cool, but you need to give me a pledge," meaning as in like, you need to give me something so that way I know that you're gonna come back. Because if you just give me your word, I don't know, you could lie to me, right? I could let you have sex with me, and then you lie to me and you never come back. So give me something that's valuable to you, or give me something that you like, or something that you need to come back for me for. A pledge. Uh, so yeah, okay, hold on. So I lose my track. Space. It's all these words. And she said, "Will you give me a pledge to me send it?" And he said, "What pledge shall I give you?" So he's asking her, "What type of pledge do you want?" So she replied, "Your signet and your cord and your staff that is in your hand." So a signet is like, would be like, back in the day when you write letters, um whenever you write documents and stuff, you stamp it with your little signet. Um, it's like a stamp to identify you when you write or send documents or papers. That's a signet. So she wants his signet. Uh, your cord is probably like the cord would be like something that you'd hold on to the signet, like the how like you could put it around your neck, your signet, and then you could put like a little string around to hold it. So pretty much like a necklace, and then at the bottom of the necklace, it's your signet that you stamp letters with, and it says she wanted your staff, like it's like a walking stick you can think of, customizable, your own walking stick. Um, and that's in your hand. So he had a walking stick whenever you'd walk. So he gave them to her. So he's like, okay, fine. So he gave all these three things, which he uses every day. It's valuable to him. So he that way she knows, okay, you gave me these things, you like them, you're gonna have to come back for them one day. That way we can exchange our gifts or exchange the young goat. Uh, so he gave them to her, and he went into her. So they did the thing, and she conceived by him. So, and that's probably was her whole plan all along. Is just to lie to him. She's like, look, you promised me your younger son Shalal. You never gave him to me. So, I had to lie to you, and I'm going to have a child, and it's going to be by you. Uh, so that's kind of crazy. He slept with his daughter-in-law, but he didn't know it was his daughter-in-law, but then she arose and went away. So after that happened, she conceived. Um, he put his seed inside her, he put all his semen inside her. So then she got up from there and went away. She left. And taking off her veil, she put on the garments of her widow. So after that happened, she took off her veil, she took off the clothes she had, and she put back on her widow's garment, which she'd normally wear every day. Uh, and so now, after some time passed by, right, when Judah, after his flock, they reproduced again. So when Judah sent the kid, like as in the young sheep, the young goat, by his friend the Adamite. So remember, his friend the Adamite is Hira, probably his best friend, I guess, based off of the way I'm reading this. I keep on referring to him. So when Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Adamite to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, he could not find her. So he was a man of his word. He brought her back a young animal, and he was supposed to give her the animal, but take back his walking stick, his cord, and his little stamp. Uh, but he couldn't find her, But he didn't know. He thought, we'll keep reading. And he asked the men of the place, "Where is the harlot?" He's like asking the guys in the town, "Hey, where's this prostitute who was at the Enamine by the wayside?" So I guess you could think of it as like, look, she's a prostitute. That's her job profession, so she's always supposed to be in the same area where she'd be at. So he's asking the guys, "Hey, do you know the prostitute that's over there?" So she's asking, "Do you know where the prostitute is over there in the front of the city?" And they said, "No, we don't." Um, and they said no, no, no. They said and they said no harlot has been here. So he's probably like, imagine that, he's probably like, what, So he returned to Judah and said, "I have not found her. And also the men of the place said no harlot has been here." And Judah replied, so Judah was probably like, what the fuck? He's like, she took all these things from me. I'm supposed to give her these, and she's not there. What the heck? He's probably like a little bit embarrassed, and like it proves it right here. So it's like, and Judah replied, "Let her keep the things as her own, lest we be laughed at." So meaning as in like, so we don't have to be laughed at. Because imagine going around town thinking like, "Hey, have you seen the prostitute over here?" Because keep in mind, Judah didn't even go himself. He was probably too embarrassed. Because his friend was going around town asking the men, "Hey, have you seen this prostitute?" So now all the men are probably thinking about his friend. Damn, this guy really had sex with a prostitute, or why is he looking for this girl, or what's going on? So Judah said, "Look, let her keep the things, so we don't have to be laughed at. We don't have to be ashamed. Because if we're going around town asking people, hey, I'm supposed to give this prostitute that I had sex with, she has my signet, my cord, my walking stick. They're gonna laugh at him, and they'll be like, bro, you got bamboozled, bro. You got cooked, like, So he's like, look, just let her keep the things. I don't want to keep on searching for her. I don't want to be embarrassed. You can see yourself. I sent the kid. I sent the animal that I promised her, and you could not find her." He's like, "Let it be what it is. I told her I'll bring her one. I try to find her. I try to bring her one. She wasn't there. Forget about it." But it says about 3 months later, Judah was told, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and moreover, she is with child in harlotry. So after 3 months, she probably got a little bump, and people are asking, "You're a widow. Who's the child of that? Who's the father of that child?" And she probably was like, "It's Judah." And so they told him, and he's like, "Yeah, that prostitute that you're looking for, yeah, that wasn't a prostitute. That was uh Tamar, your daughter-in-law. And on top of that, she has a child." And Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." So he was pissed. And she was being as she was being brought out, she sent word to her father-in-law. So he probably sent people to go look for her and bring her and get her burned. And as she was, but she sent word back to her father-in-law, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." So she's like, "Look, okay, give this back to your father, to my father-in-law, all the things that I took." So it proves to him and it shows to him that I am that woman, because he probably had doubts. He's probably like, "Man, this girl's crazy," but she is pregnant by somebody. It's not me, It wasn't, He probably had doubts at first, but she's like, "Okay, here are these things, so I'll prove it to you." Um, so by the man to whom these belong, I am with child. And she said, "Mark, I pray you, whose these are, the signet, the cord, and the staff." So if we go to because at first I was like, "Who is Mark?" But if we go to the Hebrew version, it's just another word for like. I'll show you. I think it's. Damn, I forgot what page number it is. 25, verse 25, verse 25, verse 25. So it says, it's right there at the mark. Yes, and she said, "Determine, please, to whom the signet, and cord, and staff." So meaning as in like, it says, "May you please determine, I pray you, whose these are, the signet and the cord and the staff." So she's saying, "Look, please, I pray that you'll be able to figure out who these are, because once you figure out who these are, you're gonna realize like you're not gonna kill me, and it was actually Judah's child. This is actually Judah's child." Then Judah acknowledged them and said, so he got them. He's like, "Damn, that really was her." So then Judah acknowledged them and said, "She is more righteous than I am. She is more righteous than I, and as much as I did not give her to my son Shelach, and he did not lie with her again." So meaning as in like, look, after he got that stuff, he's like, "You're right." He's like, "I gave her my word. I told her that I was going to give her my son Shelach. I didn't. She's more in the right than I am." But it says right there, but they made it be known that he did not lie with her again, meaning as in like, "Look, I didn't have anything to do with her anymore after that. She does have my child. I didn't know that was her when I did the thing. Uh, I'll let her. I'm not gonna kill her no more, but I'm just not gonna have sex with her again. It's not gonna be like my wife." Um, so when the time of delivery came, okay, there were twins in her womb, and when she was in labor, one put out a hand, ready to be like, "Hey, grab me, I'm ready to go." And the midwife took and bound on his hand a scarlet thread, so meaning as in like a little piece of string on his wrist. And it does it like even to this day. Like if you have twins or back in the day, you need to separate who's who came out first, the name of who. So, um, back then they put a little piece of string if they were twins. Um, so whenever he had his hand out, he put a string on it, so she's gonna be like, "Okay, this is the firstborn son. This is gonna be his name, so we know who's who." But it says, uh, so she saw the hand come out, and she's like, "I put the scarlet on it," and she's like, "This came out first. This baby came out first." But as he drew back his hand back into his mama, behold, his brother came out, and she said, "What a breach you have made yourself." So the one of the boys took his hand out, was like, "Look, I'm ready to go." The other brother like pushed him back in, or grabbed him, or just pushed his way through, and was like, "No, I'm coming out first." And so that's why she's saying, whenever the first baby came back out, when you pushed your brother back in, she said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." Therefore, his name was called Perez, meaning as in like going through, pushing through. Afterward, his brother came out. So the one who originally was supposed to come out with a little red bracelet. Afterward, his brother came out with a scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Okay, Zerah. So, and I'll zoom in here. So it's them. It's Judah, his concubine wife, you could think of, or his side piece. I guess technically they weren't married because he said up a concubine non-wife. They didn't say that was his wife. Concubine non-wife. Because he said I'm not. He said I'm never gonna mess with her ever again. That's what he said. But yeah, it was Perez, and then it was Zerach. So 2 kids from her. She had twins. So it's kind of crazy. That's pretty much it for the chapter. Pretty big stuff. I guess a lot of stuff to learn. A lot of way to see that, perceive that. But yeah, I guess we talk about how Judah moved. Talked about Judah's wife and his sons, and then how his sons died. Two out of the 3 died, and then a little bit into his daughter-in-law, and then how he eventually impregnated his daughter-in-law, had kids with her. So, pretty big chapter. Hope you guys like and enjoy it. Come back for chapter 39, guys. Hope you guys have a good day. And in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, always be with you guys. So, peace.